What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Platinum Podcast. Welcome to episode 2 of the Platinum Podcast, where we talk about all things PlayStation, all things gaming, and all things PlayStation trophies. I'm joined today by Joel, aka GuyFarruski on YouTube. How you doing, Joel?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Living the dream. Living the dream.
Good.
Well, I was just saying to Joel before we started that he's got this really glorious background on his screen, as you can see, and I have nothing. I had a cap that just fell off, so I thought to add a little bit of variety to my side, I would have that cap on there for a split second. But sadly, it has perished. But we'll move on from that anyway. To start the podcast, we want to talk a little bit about the games we've been playing this week. So, Joel, take it away. If you've been playing much, let's hear what you've been playing this week.
I haven't. I've been playing I played 2 games. I played still Lara Croft. I've still not platinum that game. I'm working slowly towards it. And then the other game is Sekiro, just because I had to record for it. That's it. I'm a busy guy. It's a shame on me. I can't really be called a gamer this week.
Well,
I'm sorry.
What can you say, Joel? He's a man of people. He's a man in demand. It is life. We can all relate to having those busy weeks. But as someone who hasn't played much of Sekiro, how are you finding the difficulty? As apparently it is harder than Dark Souls, I've been told.
It's a weird one. I mean, I don't find it harder than Dark Souls. I think the mechanics are harder than Dark Souls, but then once you grasp the mechanics of the game, it becomes quite easy. I'm not going to say it's an easy game because it's not, but I think gameplay-wise, it ends up being easier than Dark Souls. I reckon a lot of people are going to rip my head off for saying this, but this is my opinion. I'm allowed an opinion.
People are now going to go over to your YouTube channel and then write on your comment sections of your videos where you play that you need to get good. And I hope they do, to be fair.
God forbid I complain. God forbid I complain whilst playing Sekiro as well on those videos now.
Exactly. If he complains at all, he's just said that he thinks it's easy. So, while we mention that, it is a YouTube video after all, so I'll just put it in there. Guys, if you're watching the podcast, please support it. Please like and subscribe, both our channels. Help this video grow, help our channels grow, we do appreciate it. But anyway, moving back on to Sekiro, because I have another question. Sekiro's the only Soulsborne game that has stealth mechanics, if I'm right.
Yeah.
How does that...
Yeah,
how does
proper intrigue... proper into the game, yeah.
How does it sort of compare? Because surely you can stealth your way through certain aspects, certain encounters. So does that make the game a lot easier?
It certainly helps. Like, if you plan ahead an area, like if you don't rush an area and you plan ahead and you sneak, it makes it a lot easier. Especially since, like in most games, if you lose the enemy's line of sight, they kind of investigate a little bit and then they kind of forget about you. A bit like Assassin's Creed. You kind of go in there, you kill one dude, and then run away for a while, wait, and then you go back and they're kind of all in their usual routine. So if you want to play the game, I wouldn't recommend playing the game like that because it kind of makes it a bit trivial. I'd recommend challenge yourself a little bit and try and take on a few mobs here and there. But if you wanted to stealth your way through most of the game, you definitely can.
I definitely would be. So
until you reach a boss or something.
And then it doesn't work.
There's no escape.
Well, as Jules just said there, basically, I'm going to summarize that. And if you use the mindfulness of Unagi and pre-plan, you can stealth your way through large portions of that game.
Yes, you can.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, let's have a little swim over to what I've been playing. I've played quite a few things. I was just telling Joel before we started the podcast. I've earned this week, okay, I've earned a few platinums. I've earned 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 platinum trophies this week. And a lot of them have been, basically, as I mentioned in the previous one, I think I mentioned the previous podcast, I was very close. I was about platinum Borderlands 2. I finally finished that game and I 100%ed it. I had pray to the gods that I was level 50 and I was struggling with the raids. So if you played Borderlands, there's tough, difficult raids. This level 80 angel just stemmed down from PlayStation Live Network into my game and just destroyed every enemy that I was struggling on. Honestly, there was enemies I couldn't kill at level 50 and he just came down and one-shotted the raid boss. So without that, I wouldn't have been able to finish the game. So props to...
that's the beauty of these communities. Sorry,
yeah,
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
it.
I think it's just the beauty of these communities. I mean, yeah, you do get a lot of trolls, but it's the same with the Dark Souls community. When you do co-op, you most likely will get that person that, if you're struggling through portions of the game, when I was working towards all the trophies on Dark Souls, you have to do new game pluses +1 and +2. and you find these gems of people who will literally walk you through the game. Like they'll wait for you to like rush through an area so you get to the boss, you summon the same person in, and they'll pretty much carry you the whole way. And it's beautiful.
I agree. No, I was really taken back by somebody coming in, someone who's finished the game, had nothing to gain at all, actually, just coming in and helping me out, because I had 2 different people do it on different days. And I was like, wow, some people are really generous, and I think it makes you want to do it as well, like, because now I feel like I've kept my Borderlands, and if anyone's struggling, and I see it on the forums, I will happily jump in and help out now, because I feel like that's how we sort of keep the cog going. Like, someone's helped you, and you help somebody else, and you sort of pass it on, and everyone sort of gets that extra help. So I think it is brilliant. Sure. Another game I've played, which I've been working on again, I've mentioned previously, is Overcooked 2. Finally managed to complete all of that game. Highly recommend it if you want a good co-op game. It's great fun.
Well done.
However, now I've also platinumed 3 easy games. So these are the trophy hunting games. So I've platinumed Radio Squid, which is like a little overhead twin stick shooter. The controls are a little bit difficult, so if you've actually played if you're struggling with this game, you have to manually change the controls. Once you do that, it's actually really easy. It took me 1 hour and 12 minutes. Which, to be fair, it's a half an hour game. I just take my time. I'm on my phone. I'm on YouTube. I'm just doing loads of random stuff. Pretty easy though, pretty easy. I highly recommend it if you're after those easy sort of platinums. Again, another game which, to be fair, this is probably the most fun overhead twin stick shooter I've played, which is Null Drifter. It's like an arcade classic game where you play as this little like spaceship and you just fly around killing enemies. It's so fun.
Okay.
It's, to be fair, most easy games are trash, like they're not very good, but this one, it's really, really fun. I've played it twice now. Highly recommend it, guys. Go pick it up. It is brilliant. And then I think the final one was Clash Force. Basically, Radalakia Games is easiest platinum trophy ever. All you do is finish the first 12 levels and you're done. So, to be fair, that game is going to get a lot of traction, I think, in this sort of community. So go pick it up, guys. Honestly, it's like £4, $4, and you will finish it in 20 minutes, 25 minutes. And there's loads of guides, but you don't even need a guide. You just turn it on and finish some levels and you're done. So, there you go.
There's no like collectibles, you just play the game, basically.
Yeah, there's no collectibles at all. You literally just play the game, kill some enemies, jump over some enemies. You can run through most of the game anyway. There's a couple of bosses which are pretty easy, and you're done. I think I finished it in 52 minutes, but again, I take my time. And I actually suck at platforming games, so I would probably say the average person could probably do it in maybe 42, 45 minutes. So, guys, if you want those easy plats,
check it out.
That's part of being a trophy hunter, is getting those easy ones. That's one of the reasons why you come on this podcast, click on this video to figure out about the easy ones. There you go, there's 3 easy ones. Null Drifter, Radio Squid, and Clash Force. They're the games I've been playing this week even. Just this week. So now I'm on 204 platinums.
Leave your shame at the door and just get those platinums.
Exactly.
Nobody,
leave the shame.
Nobody has to know.
I have enough shame in my life, so I don't want to be worrying about platinum trophy shame. Okay, guys, so let's move on to our trophy topics. So we've got 3 topics this week, and I've just realised I thought we only had 2, so I've only prepared for 2 of them, Joel. But I actually have physical, tangible props today. Look at these bad boys. I have props that I'm going to talk about. But I'm going to let Joel go first. So the first trophy topic we're going to talk about is our most proud platinum trophy. Take us away, Joel.
Okay. This was, I spent a lot of time thinking about this, and I've just got too many games that I'm proud of. So I am a platinum trophy hunter, but I do a bit differently. So every game I pick up, no matter what it is, I'll try and platinum it. If I enjoy it, I'll try and platinum it. And then obviously I'll have these little easy games here and there, which I do, to boost up my count. So there's a lot of games that I have that I'm proud of, either because they're hard or because, not many people have them. So it was really hard to nail it down to just the one that I'm most proud of. I mean, it could be, I don't know, Red Dead Redemption 2, it could be any of the Souls games, it could be any of the Kingdom Hearts, it could be... There's just so many that I have that I'm too proud of, so I can't really nail it down to the one. I don't know, I'll pass.
You're going to pass?
I'll have to pass.
He's going to pass.
I'm going to pass.
He's just named loads of platinum trophies that I don't have that are so much more impressive than mine. And that's why, to be fair, I didn't want to go first because I knew he would blow me out of the water. And now he's just done the same anyway, but in reverse. So thank you for that, firstly.
I'm sorry.
Mine, to be fair, like I haven't platinumed any Soulsborne games. Yeah, hate me. I haven't platinumed Red Dead. It's on my list. I am working towards Red Dead. However, the game I am probably most proud of is Dragon Quest 11. Have you played it, Joel?
I've also platinumed it, and I know the struggle.
So it's great. It's the first JRPG I've probably played properly. So yes, I played Final Fantasy 15, but that's sort of a Western version of a JRPG. So this is like the first JRPG I played in probably about 10 years. I haven't played it on this generation anyway. And so I was a bit skeptical of it, and I played them, and I really enjoyed it. And I just want to say it's a really great game. It's a great RPG, and it's a really good JRPG. However, I can see why people don't like JRPGs. I can see why over here they just don't connect with a lot of people because they're really slow. There's a lot of like storylines are a bit romanticized, and you can tell it's like a more of an Eastern storyline. But that doesn't take away from how good it is. The artwork is phenomenal. The gameplay, like the turn-based gameplay, is really good fun. And to be honest, the story it told is amazing. It's great. I really loved it. I really loved all the side characters. And the Platinum Trophy, it's about 110 hours it took me to finish the game. What about you, Joel?
I think I took about 150.
150. So can you remember any difficult parts of the trophy list or not?
I think the hardest one for me was getting like the outfits for one of the characters.
That's
because you have to do like a couple of different challenges. And the thing is, if you follow a guide, you do the challenges like in order. And I didn't follow a guide, so I did an extra challenge that I should have. And obviously, the more you do these challenges, the harder it gets. So I got to a point where I didn't think I was going to get the platinum because the challenge I was on was incredibly hard. And keep in mind, I had all my characters level 99, I had all the best gear, and I was struggling with this one challenge.
Yeah, I agree. No, I completely agree. Yeah. There's two trophies that stick out to me that were the hardest. Was one getting all the medals, and in the end you had to do the horse race thing. I ended up doing a horse race for like hours and hours and hours, and it was getting all the outfits. All the outfits is really tough. I did the same as you. I left it till the very end, and it was the last trophy I did, and I probably spent 15 to 20 hours going around collecting certain items just to create certain things, and it took away from the game a little bit. However, I played a lot of games and I didn't take away enough to be negative on the game. So a lot of games I play, like for example, Days Gone, it took me 45 hours, maybe 50 to get the platinum, but then there's a challenge mode. Yeah. And have you played this?
I haven't yet, no. It's on my list, but I haven't played it. I've seen gameplay, so don't worry about spoilers.
I'm not going to spoil anything. I personally don't think it's worth the time. I think it's an okay story. I think if you just want to play it, but it's like, I like to complete the games. I don't just get the platinum, so there's loads of challenge mode and stuff on the like extra DLC. And it took me about 50 to 80 hours to finish all the challenges. Then I had to replay the game on the hardest difficulty on New Game Plus, and that was another like 50 hours. So it took like 160 hours to platinum this game. And I can say, like, I've got a bit of a negative memory of it because it was such a grind towards the end. Dragon Quest isn't like that at all. Dragon Quest 11, it's a great story, and then you only have to do maybe 20 to 30 hours of cleanup, and you love the game so much that you don't mind doing it. And for me, that's why I loved it so much. The only downside about the game really is the music. The music is good, but it's very repetitive. After about 10 minutes, you've heard every single soundtrack, and it's a 110-hour game. So, you listen to the same soundtrack on repeat 6 times an hour. So, it's a lot of the same music. But
it does grind a little bit.
But I love the old school combat. I think it's brilliant, and it is a great game.
Whilst we're still on this topic, if you did enjoy Dragon Quest, I can recommend you another game. I've not played the first one, but I played the second one and platinum the second one. It's not a hard platinum either. It's kind of like Dragon Quest, maybe a little bit easier than Dragon Quest.
It's a Ni no Kuni.
Time consuming. Ni no Kuni. How did you know?
Because I've seen a lot of it advertised, and it's been on my list for a long time. I do want to play it. Yeah, I've heard mixed things. It is. I've heard a few people say they absolutely die and love it, and I've also heard people say it's just an average JRPG. How would you feel?
I really loved it, and the art style, the specific art style for it is what got me the most. Like, I like anime. I'm like a huge weeboo.
Me too.
So the art style was a thing that instantly called out to me. And then after I played the second one, a lot of people said that the first one is a lot better. So the first one, the second one, the combat system it's not turn-based anymore. It's kind of like it's kind of like a real time thing.
Like-
you still have like your, where you have like your drop menu and you select things and it kind of like stops the game for a while whilst you're selecting those things. A bit like Final Fantasy, really.
Yeah, okay.
Like Final Fantasy 15,
Yeah,
a bit
yes.
like that.
Great game, by the way.
And the first one is turn-based, but the first one you kind of play with your familiars, it's kind of like similar to Pokemon. You choose these familiars and they fight for you, and then they level up and they evolve and this, that, and the other. So I think the first one is better, which is again on my list. But yeah, I definitely recommend you play Ni no Kuni 2.
Fair enough.
I reckon you'll really love it.
It is on my list. I think, to be honest, because the first one's been remastered, I'm probably going to play the first one first. Play it in chronological order. However, it's just joining the back of my backlog because it's already about over 1,000 hours long. So it's like, get the back, mate. You're gonna have to
That's
hang
another
fire.
thing with JRPGs. That's another thing with JRPGs and long games. You like, especially if you're going for the platinum, it's really easy to burn yourself out of a game. Like I found, for example, Ni no Kuni, and even Dragon Quest. By the end, I was a bit burnt out of the game, especially with Dragon Quest with that soundtrack. I think I had that soundtrack stuck in my head for about a week after I finished playing the game. But it's really easy to burn yourself out because there's so much to do, and there's JRPGs especially. There's usually a lot of grinding.
I agree.
Whether it's levels or collectibles, there's usually quite a bit of grinding.
Yeah, no, I agree. I will, as I've matured as a completionist, I've started to take a bit more of a step back. So what I'll do is for example, like just take Last of Us Part 2. No spoilers, but I finished the game about 3 weeks ago. I just played the game. I got about half the trophies, and I've just left it. I know I'm going to play it, but I'm just taking a break because it was quite a mentally tiring game, and I've just left it. And I'm going to play a few other games, and then when I'm ready to go back, I'm going to go back. And I think I'm going to do the same with any sort of game that's over, say, 50 hours. I'm going to play it through, put maybe a couple of weeks in, and then take a couple of week break, and then go back to it. I think just to stop you burning out, because burnout is a real thing when you're playing the same game, especially when you don't have that much time to game. If you're only gaming 10 hours a week, that means you're going to be gaming 10 weeks of the same game to finish Dragon Quest.
Yeah.
So it's a bit like, well, that's a lot of time. You don't want to be playing the same game because you just burn out. So
yeah, I agree.
Right, okay, Joe, let's move on to our next topic. Our second of 3 topics today for our trophy topics is our most shameful platinum trophy. And again, Joel, you can start.
There's only one.
Oh.
Like, the moment you said this, there is only one that came into my head. And I'm sure a lot of you people out there that are platinum hunters will have this, because it's the cheapest game I've ever had. It's the fastest platinum I've ever had. And by far the most shameful I've ever had. Like, if Sony ever create like an update that you can hide specific trophies and trophy lists, I'll definitely hide this one. Nobody needs to know. Everyone will know now, saying that. So
everyone's going to know this now.
Thank you, PlatinumBro. Thank you for exposing me like this.
Anytime.
My name is Mayo.
Yeah, that's a pretty shameful trophy to have. I mean, I've got it as well.
See, I knew it.
Yes,
but yeah, it's for you guys that don't know what it is. It's basically you have a jar of mayo, you have a cursor, and all you do is you press X or what is it? Cross. I usually say X.
I say X too.
But you just press X, and that's it. 10,000 clicks. That's it. That's all you do. You get it in about half an hour, if depending on how quick your clicking skills are. I mean, if you're a pro, you can maybe get it in less time. Well, but yeah, you change a few outfits every now and then, and that's it.
I agree. That's quite shameful. I mean, I've got it, and I've got it twice because I did it on the PlayStation Vita as well.
Oh, God. I don't feel so bad anymore.
You know what? You reminds me of another shameful trophy, which I want to say. That is quite a shameful one. The one I've got is a PlayStation 3 game. So,
okay.
I only got this because I got a PlayStation 3. I found my old PlayStation 3 when I was I found it under my bed in my mum's house. I went back last year and I found it. I was like, oh, it's a big chunky beast. It weighed a ton. Yeah. Like carrying it down to the car. And when I did that, I linked up my new trophy hunting account with it, and I thought I'm going to get a few classic games and play them. And I'm also going to get a few easy PlayStation 3 games. But back in the PlayStation 3 era, there wasn't any hour platinum trophies. There wasn't any 2 or 3 hour platinum trophies. Now, this isn't Hannah Montana, but that was a renowned game for being a 5 hour platinum.
Yes, it was.
I probably will get that at some point. I feel like it's funny to have the really shameful ones as well. It completes the whole message of being a trophy hunter. So I've also got this game again.
How obsessed?
Yes, I am. If you're wondering in your head if you think I'm a loser, well, just to answer, I am, because I've got the Hannah Montana trophy. You know what I mean? Just to submit it. Just to, like that's the thing, people. You know. So this one's as bad, to be fair. So yeah, I'm just taking the pay out myself a little bit.
Now.
So the one I've got is the most generic and I would say most famous PlayStation 3 trophy, easy trophy game, which is Terminator Salvation.
I remember so many people recommending this game because it was bad. It was a bad game.
It is a bad game.
I was looking forward to that game when it was announced, and then people played it and reviewed it, and it was just garbage, so I never picked it up. And then I kind of regretted it. So in your defense, PlatinumBro, I kind of regretted it because not only is it an easy platinum, I'll let you take it away. I'm stealing the thunder.
No.
I'll let you say it.
Well, it is an absolutely trash game, I have to say. I mean, the movie, to be fair, I actually enjoyed it. I mean, I'll watch anything with Christian Bale in, though, because he's just like an absolute god. But the game is trash. It is trash. It's like a 4-hour platinum trophy, and all you need to do is play it with I think you play it with somebody else. Or you don't have to. Yeah. And all you have to do is play it on hard, and the hard is like an easy on any game you've ever played. And it's like, you just run through these like levels, kill like 4 enemies per level, and you're done. And it's just like, it is pretty easy. It's pretty shameful for me. I feel like, especially because I bought it like last year or this year. Like I actively went out and bought it knowing it was the easiest platinum you could get on PlayStation 3. That's what makes me such a shameful person. Shame. That's how I feel
better
about it.
I feel better.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel better about myself. Thank you.
You know, if you accidentally pick up My Name Is Mayo, you're sort of like, oh, it's an easy platinum, I don't think about it. You know, I'll just get it and finish it. But if you actively go, this game is really easy and I'm going to get it for that, that's what makes it shameful, I think. So that's why I'm a shameful mess, pretty much.
Not only that, I think, isn't the whole trophy list like there's no bronzes, there's just silvers and golds?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's literally just like finishing each level on easy and hard and then you finish it. It's
if you have like a low level on PSN, you can like boost yourself a couple of levels with this game because, you know, gold trophies give you quite a bit of percentage if you are like on a low level, and silvers are pretty decent as well if I remember.
Yeah, actually I've just got it up on PSN profiles and it is just 11 golds for finishing every chapter, which is there's 9 chapters in the game, so you get 9 golds there. You get a gold for finishing the game on medium and you get a gold for finishing the game on hard. And the hard mode, like I've said, is like easy on Gears of War. Because I would probably compare that's the sort of gameplay they're going for. It's like an easy on Gears of War. It's a joke how easy it is.
I've only got one question.
Go on then.
Can you get it on PS4?
No.
Damn it.
You can't get it on PlayStation 4. I don't think you can even buy it on a digital store anymore because the PlayStation 3 store is so limited now. You've got to buy the OG hard copy. You've got to have the actual physical disc. I think I paid like £4 for this.
I wonder if it's on PS Now.
I don't think it is. I've had a look because there's a few classic games on PS Now. I don't think it is.
Yeah.
However, that being said, the new Terminator game looks pretty good. It's not amazing, but it's a good little Terminator experience. Yeah. I will pick it up at some point, but I'm not paying like £35 for a 6-hour game. That's sort of where I draw the line.
I heard it's very underrated. So I think the reviews didn't really do it much justice. And then, like, if you compare the reviews of the reviewers compared to the reviews of the people who've played the game, you're going to find like a very huge gap. Like, most people that play the game said it's a decent game for what it is and like the budget they had. I don't think they had that much of a budget, so they made a good game with what they had. And then the reviewers are kind of just thrashing the game and just putting it down. So I think it's one of those that you have to play in order to judge for yourself.
That's sort of like The Last of Us Part 2, but opposite. All the reviewers think it's amazing, all the actual players think it's like a 4 out of 10. There's always something like...
I think a lot of the things with the players is the story, though, isn't it?
Yeah. I think there's like... I watched a video where like he was basically just talking about reviews of games, and he was saying that really what you should do is you should take the user score and take the reviewer score and do an average. So, for example, Last of Us is getting like a 9 out of 10 in the reviews, and it's getting... for the reviewers, and it's getting like a 4 out of 10 for the user reviews, so it's basically like a 7 out of 10, which is pretty much what I would agree with. So we should really do the same with Terminator Resistance. Take the user score, which is up here, take the reviewer and sort of read it in the middle. It might be 6, might be 7, might be an 8 out of 10.
That's a good.
You just don't know.
That's a good way to do it.
Yeah, smart me.
Hey, life hacks with PlatinumBro. See, now you're glad you tuned in.
Yeah,
now you're glad you tuned in.
Yeah. Well, what can I say? I give really, really good advice to some people. Joking. Don't listen to me ever. I just spill garbage all the time. I just wing it all the time. What can I say? I give terrible advice. Now, I want to move on to the next topic, but before I do, I want to pay special tribute to my really, really cool mug, which is my classic Atari mug. Look at that bad boy. Look how chipped it is. It's like seeing some serious damage. It's so robust.
I've seen some stuff.
I think I've had it for like 2 years, 3 years. It is
2 years.
That camera didn't do it justice. It's red. It's like a red color, but it's just chipped all the way around. But it is my favorite mug, and I think I paid £2 for it. No one appreciates the Atari, and I always ask people, "What's the Atari?" and they go, "Oh, I don't know." And I think, well, it's on there. Firstly, that's what an Atari is, but you should know it's a video game console. Come on.
Yeah. The only thing I kind of associate with Atari is E.T. and how it destroyed the Atari.
Yes, exactly. Poor Atari.
R.I.P.
Haven't they just released a new Atari? Am I just completely making this up?
You may be right. I'm not sure.
There's been a new console which has been crowdfunded, and I can't remember off the top of my head what it is.
Maybe the Atari.
It might be the Atari.
A lot of people love the Atari. The Atari was pretty good. It's just E.T. killed it because it was such a bad game.
Yes, of course. Rip Atari.
Sorry, 2020.
It has a special place in my heart because I feel like it was like one of the first consoles. It was like it paved the way, just like Halo did, which is why you got to respect Halo. I know it's a PlayStation podcast, but it paved the way for first person shooters. So you got to respect it, but you've also got to acknowledge that it's now not very good. I think anyway.
It didn't age well, I think. Well, they're making a new one, so they may change. But we're not talking about Xbox.
No, we're not.
Xbox is garbage. Don't get an Xbox. Get a PlayStation.
Honestly, Joel, I was just filling the gap because.
But yeah, you were.
I was right.
Oh. Yeah, you were. Yeah, there's. It's not been released yet, but from if Wikipedia isn't lying to me, it's called the Atari VCS 2020 console, and it's due to be released in October this year.
See, I was right. See,
whether it's like true, it seems pretty legit. I'll show you guys on the camera. It seems pretty legit. Go on, phone, don't forsake me now.
It's letting us down.
There we go.
Technology is failing us.
There we go.
See? I think that's the one I've seen. I think people have been slating it online because I think it's been like on a GoFundMe, and I think it's raised a lot of money. But I'm not too sure. We're getting off topic here massively. So if you like Atari, you may be able to sort of pick one up. Maybe at the end of this year, or maybe not. Who knows? We don't know anything, to be fair, so don't listen to us.
No.
Okay, so the final topic, which I haven't prepared for at all because I forgot we were going to talk about it, is our rarest. Not our rarest platinum trophy, our rarest single trophy. So the trophy we've earned, which is the rarest on our account, and does it deserve the title of being rarest? So Joel, have you got your answer ready?
I think you should go for yours first.
Okay. So mine, actually, I have two draw for the rarest trophy, which is 0.66% ultra rare. So that's actually not that rare, to be fair, considering some people have like 0.001% ultra rare trophies. I'm talking about PSN profiles are rare as well, not on the network, because most trophies are really rare on the network. Anyway, it is 2 trophies, which is, for one, it's a platinum trophy for PlayStation VR Worlds, and it is the gold trophy called Midas Touch, which I'm going to have to check what it actually is for. It is for basically finishing all of the challenges across all 4 of the mini games on PlayStation VR World. So I spoke about this game last week, and about how difficult some parts of the game were. And this just sort of shows how hard it is because people literally couldn't get the platinum out of it. Everyone who's played this game, which I think, if I do a quick look, it was one because it came out with the VR, a lot of people picked it up, which is probably why it's so rare on the PSN profiles account. But 86,000 people have played it, which is quite a lot, to be fair. But only 500 people have actually earned the platinum trophy in it, which is, in the average completion is 14%, which is really, really low, especially for PSN profiles. Like, for example, most games are set around like a 30 to 50% completion rate, because obviously PSN profiles mainly has trophy hunters on it.
Yeah.
So what made this trophy again so hard was the game called, I think it was Danger Ball, where you had like control the VR and you had like bounce the balls back. It was disgustingly hard. It hadn't showed no mercy, and it took like. It was sort of like train. You had to train for it. Like it wasn't a grindy one. It was like you literally have to get good at this game. You have to just sort of stick your heels in and just grind for hours and hours and hours on the same terrible arcade game. And I was determined to beat it. I just didn't. It was like one of those things again when it mugs you off so much. You think, I'm not letting you beat me. Screw you, PlayStation VR Worlds. So yeah, and actually, in fact, my 5 rarest trophies are all from PlayStation VR because all the trophies are just so hard to beat.
Yeah, I think we touched on that on the last episode on how unbalanced the trophies are for VR.
It's disgraceful, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just because the VR is so hard to use, and then I think as well they tend to be smaller game developers, and I think they think a lot less about the trophies. They just sort of throw them in and just sort of don't think about it. Because to be fair, most people don't really care that much about them. But to be fair, PlayStation VR World is a AAA game. In theory, it's made by a first-party Sony game, but as to not how much effort they put into actually sort of doing everything remains to be seen. Which,
I mean, in your opinion, since you've played it and you platinumed it, it's a good game.
It's okay. It's a good demo for what the VR can do. So you play it and you think, so for example, there's a London Heist mini-game, which then is sort of spiraled into Blood and Heist, or Blood and Truth, the new VR game. And that shows how great the first-person sort of like gunplay can be in a VR. But then it also shows the other 3 mini-games, which aren't that good, to be fair. So, it's like I said, it's just a good demo for what VR can do, but it's not really a great game because every little mini-game's probably only had so much time spent on it. So, I mean, I'll pick it up if you sort of want to get a little idea of what the VR is, but for trophy hunting, it's difficult. It's probably only about a 50-hour platinum, but just really, really hard. That you've got to really put the effort in.
Yeah.
What about yourself then, Joel?
That's fair. Okay.
Oh,
so
boy.
it's not my percentage is like higher or lower. I'm not sure. I'm not good at maths. It's like 2% of people, around like 2.16% of people have this platinum. It's Red Dead Redemption 2, but I did the calculation because I want to kind of see like how hard it is like in a bigger scale. So basically, 14 million copies of Red Dead Redemption 2 were sold. So obviously, I only did the PlayStation 4 stats because like PC and Xbox don't really matter because it's different achievements for them. So, but PlayStation 14 million copies were sold, and only 2.16% of those 14 million copies have the Platinum Trophy, which is like 300,000 people, something like that. So it sounds like a lot of people, and it kind of is. But if you're gonna like scale it to like 14 million, it's a very small amount of people that have the trophy compared to the people that have owned the game or own the game. Keep in mind though, when I did unlock this trophy, it was on 0.1% rare, which was last year, I think.
Yeah.
It took me a whole year to do it.
It's gone up, hasn't it?
It's actually the Platinum Trophy for Red Dead Redemption 2 is the rarest one I have. And then underneath that is, I think, Reach Level 50 online is the second like rarest trophy I have. So you can see how hard it is and how time consuming it is. Can you see my head swelling a little bit? It kind of is. I can feel it.
Feel the rage building.
But it's a very... I think what makes it hard is how time-consuming it is and how random it is. So especially the trophies, like the collectibles of you have to study every animal or you have to study every type of animal. I don't think it's every animal, but it's every type of animal. And there's some of them that they only appear on one area in the map, but it's an insanely low percentage of time. You have to like restart your game countless and countless times. And one of them I do remember that was really hard was the Black Panther, which is a really rare panther. You only get it in one forest, and I think I restarted my game about 50 times, and I spotted it the first time. I was almost finished studying it. It charged towards me. My horse, had a little tantrum, threw me off, and it killed me. So I had to redo it all over again.
That's so depressing.
It was the bad. It's bad.
I'm sad now.
And then after that, you have to get like 70 gold medals in the missions, which is a lot harder than what it sounds like on paper because the challenges that you have to do. So let's say you have to finish the mission in like 15 minutes. You have to do 20 headshots, and you have to not heal. You have to do all of these at the same time. So you can't just play it once, tick off 20 headshots and then play it again and then tick off the other one. You have to do all of the objectives in one go. And that makes it incredibly difficult because they're not generous with it. They'll give you like stupid objectives. Like even if you choose like the easiest ones, sometimes if things mess up, like there's a mission where you have to complete in like 2 minutes, and you think, oh yeah, that's easy enough. It's only 2 minutes, but then you don't remember what the mission is, and then when you go back to the mission, it's like, well, this is near enough impossible.
Yeah.
But out of like, I think it's like 130 missions, you have to get 70 gold, which is more than half. So for all the missions of the game, you have to get more than half of the gold, which is insane. And yeah, that's, I think, so actually touching on this and like saying all these things is probably my answer to the first question of what's my most proudest platinum, and it's probably going to be Red Dead Redemption 2, just for how rare it is and how hard it was. So I think I killed two birds with one stone.
I'm
Red Dead Redemption 2.
I'm quite aware of the trophy list on Red Dead Redemption 2 because I look at it quite a lot. I always look at it with like frustration, thinking, do I really want to go this far?
Yeah.
Because I'm like level 35 on online. I'd probably get the online in about 2 weeks, 3 weeks if I really went for it. But then the offline is really, really brutal. How long would you say, hour wise, how many hours did it take you to platinum the game? Just to be completely honest. I'm going to say I've read about 200. I think about 250 for me is how long it would take me.
I think a ballpark figure of how long I took on the game was about 500.
Wow.
500 hours.
And what is that?
Throughout a year.
Is that just throughout a year? Is that just because of like the having to find the species and do all the collectibles?
I think a lot of it. I think a lot of it was the gold medals, because you have to repeat these missions all like constantly, and the loading times aren't the most generous in Red Dead Redemption either, which makes it even more frustrating because you have to load up these missions and then you have to wait, and then you just have to replay them so many times in order to get the right timing, to get the right enemy placements, because if you guys are going for the platinum, I'd recommend, and you haven't played it for a while, I'd recommend you start a new game and you check to see what the requirements are for the gold medal in that mission, and then do it as you play the game. Because if you wait till the end of the game and you have all your special weapons and everything, when you replay the mission, they're not going to give you those weapons. They're going to give you a very short selection of weapons. So they give you like default weapons. So you're going to have like a crappy pistol if you do like one of the first ones. You're going to have a limited amount of ammunition. You're not going to have the special ammunition. You're only going to have a limited amount of like healing items. So if you guys are going to go for that, I'd recommend you start a new game, see what the requirements are, and pre-prepare before you do that mission. Because I think maybe the hardest thing for me and the most time-consuming thing was them giving you those predefined, healing items and guns, because it's harder. Because you're only going to get the crappy. They're going to give you like the crappy things. They're basically going to give you items that you're just going to kind of like just enough for you to be able to do it. So I think that's my advice. I think that's something that maybe I should have done. But again, it goes back to burning yourself out. Like I did the platinum. I did most of the single player trophies like continuously. So I played the game. I actually streamed it on Twitch at the time, but I played the whole game, and then after that, I did like all the single player things, and I think I got to a point where I was burning myself out, and obviously with the frustration of having to restart and like the species and this and that and this and that, I think that's what made it maybe harder, because as you guys know, the more your frustration kicks in, the more you want to hurry up and do something, the harder it is, because you're trying to rush it, and then you mess up, and then when you mess up, you have to redo it again. So I think it's like it's a downward spiral once you start. So I take my time with it. Maybe limit yourself to like a couple of hours a day. If it takes you like ages, so be it. But I think it's a lot better than grinding out on a like hours and hours and hours and hours, and it's just going to take you longer, I think.
I agree. I mean, I think firstly that is probably the best advice you're going to get in this video of the day. I think that's some really good advice, and I agree with Burnout. I think. Firstly, just like to say, Red Dead is a great game. Like I know you're not disputing that either. It is a great game, and I think it's worth.
For sure.
The Platinum Trophy is something to behold. It's worth having, but like you said, it is a massive grind. And for me, like I'm at the point where I finished the story, and then I'm going to do the online, and I'm going to have to go back and replay it, because, like what you said there, it makes more sense to go back and replay. So you've got all the crit ammo, you've got like your tonics, so you can use it for Deadeye, and then of course, and all that stuff. So it makes the game so much easier. And then as well, I've missed out, the companion items. You have to retrieve them. I've only achieved 3 out of 5, so I'll have to go back anyway and replay like chapter 2.
Yeah.
But that's what I would do. I'll probably go back and do all those, and then when I finally get the trophy for the gold, I would then reload my save at the end of the game on my previous save, and then do the collectibles on there, because I think I've got all the cards. I think that's what I've already got, which I just spent like $10,000 buying the packs of cards to complete the cards. It was like a serious addiction. See, like, you must have thought I was an absolute crazy person. It's like, you see those kids buying all the Pokemon cards. I was literally just like that. That was a great topic, actually. I think you spoke a lot about that, Joel. I think that was really good advice. I think people who are actually after the game, want to finish the game, should really need to heed that advice, because it is difficult. And I think it would have been better with hindsight to go into Red Dead and with the intention of getting the Platinum Trophy straight away. But sometimes, I personally think if it's a great game, I kind of want to experience it first and go back. Sure. But I think Red Dead 2, it's a 60-hour game anyway. So it's like, you're adding 60 hours. That's how it creeps up to those 500. I think I'd like to say, I don't think it will take somebody now as long to do that, because the online's changed.
Definitely not.
The online's changed now.
Yeah, definitely not.
So you got the rule collectors and all the rules. Yeah. And you can pretty much get about 2,000 XP an hour now. Whereas back, and there's daily challenges and stuff now, whereas back when you played it, I can't even imagine how brutal it would have been.
It was just there was nothing to do. Like, a lot of the time to grind up to that level 50, I'd call a couple of my mates that had the game, and I said, do you want to just mess around? Yeah. And basically, the XP grinding was, to be fair, like the last, I think, 20 levels, I did. I think I grabbed like the beginning of the rolls. Okay. I'm sure they're a lot more like fine tuned now. Yeah. But I think I spent a lot of the time doing the collectible roll. Yeah, that's the best way. And then I think I did the bounty hunter. I didn't really do much of the shop one or the trader, because it's. I think it's a lot harder because you have to like hunt for animals and get the skins to then sell the skins and then take your merchandise to another place. It's a lot more time consuming if you want to get to that level 50. Jesus. But I think maybe the trophy hunter one's the best one, probably the quickest one. I think it's like 100 XP every time you do a bounty mission. It is. You mean the collecting stuff? Yeah, the collector's definitely without doubt the way to go. It is. That's another main part of advice I would say if you actually want to get the platinum is. Make sure you start a new game and do all the gold medals as you can, you come in front of them with all the weapons, all the tonics, etc. And then also, if you're going to do online, just do collector, and that way you can just move up the ranks, probably a rank every couple of hours. Yeah, but if you have friends that play it as well, it's going to make it a lot more fun, a lot more fun experience. Because if you're messing around and you're doing, everybody does it. You go to a town and you like blow a building up and you kill like 20 people, and then the police come and. And so like all that messing around, let's say you do that for an hour, like that XP is going to build up because you're killing
so many innocent people,
especially with so you get XP for it.
Sometimes I like to be.
It's such a bad example for the kids. Like just go to a town, kill a ton of people. You're going to rank up fast. You're going to rank up fast. No, don't do it. Don't.
I mean, like sometimes like if I'm really bored, I'll just sort of like if someone wrongs me on it, I used to like. Say, like, someone tries to, like, I don't know, I'm just minding my own business, and someone's like, oh, stranger, I need your help. Jokes, give me your money. I'll be like, right, that's it. That's not on.
Oh, yeah.
I kill them, blow their head off, blow their legs off, and blow their arms off, and just put them on the back of the horse and just ride around on the horse. Like, look at this mutilated corpse I've got.
I think a lot of people have done that, and it's... When you look back on it now, like, logically, it's so wrong.
It's very messed up, yeah.
It's I think we have issues.
Yeah, I think I do too. I've got some serious issues.
Yeah.
Okay, we've spoke quite a lot about trophies today, which is obviously the main point of the podcast. I think we'll move on to our gaming topics of the day. We'll talk about the little one first. We've already had a little bit of a discussion. We don't have much to say on this one.
Yeah.
But if you didn't know already, Fallout is going to be getting its own TV series. It's going to be on Amazon, and I don't know when exactly it's coming out, but it's been announced over the past couple of weeks, and Todd Howard is going to be the producer on it. How do you feel about that, Joel?
I got mixed feelings. In the Fallout sense, it's got a huge fan base, and I think they're probably doing this to try and get a lot of the fans back from what happened with Fallout 76. Everybody knows about what happened with Fallout 76. It was shameful. It shouldn't have happened, but it did.
Wasn't.
I think they're now trying to get these people back and maybe get more people into the game again, because if you look back on how well the game did after the Witcher series came out, it was insane. Like, people were buying the Witcher like there was no tomorrow, and the Witcher's been out for 5 years now. 2015 it came out. So so you can see how much those sales have boosted just from the series alone. But in the same breath, they need to They need to do a really, really, really good job. Because if you look back, The Witcher's not got much to compete with.
Yeah, I agree.
Fallout, on the other hand, I think there's too many post-apocalyptic films and series, so they have to really, really, really dig deep and do a good job. And not just that, The Witcher, I think, was such a good series because they didn't base themselves that much on the games, if you think about it. They base themselves on the books.
Which are awesome, by the way.
Which then obviously has references to the game because the game based himself on the books as well. So, I don't know. It's very mixed. It's either going to be really good or it's going to completely destroy Fallout. It's going to be like the final nail in the coffin, I think. Yeah. I think it's going to go either way.
I think, firstly, that I've read the first 2 Witcher books. I'm getting through them, and the first season covers the first 2 books, and it is really, really good.
Okay.
I think they do a lot of justice for the books. Yeah. Fallout, I think you're right. I think you're completely right with they're doing it to sort of like, firstly, emulate what Witcher have done, because Witcher's shown that a good TV series could really help build up the brand, and they did really sort of mess us up with Fallout 76. I know there's a very small niche amount of people who will say that, I liked it, I thought it did well, but on a whole, it was received poorly. I think it was a bit of a disgrace. And to be honest, I feel like Bethesda's sort of attitude towards gaming since Skyrim has really gone downhill. Like, for example, there's about 15, there's about 6 different re-releases of Skyrim. You know, you've got the Switch, VR, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, 360, blah, blah, blah. They've got the Game of the Year editions. Like, I feel like they've really tried to just milk that game. So that, for me, is a bit of an issue with Bethesda, I think. And then Fallout 76 definitely was just such bad. It wasn't the game anybody wanted at all.
Yeah.
It was a seriously heavily monetized game that people didn't ask for. People wanted a new Fallout, not a new sort of mix between an MMO and a money grab, which is what I think 76 was. I think,
for sure.
Again, with a post-apocalyptic world, you're right. Like, you know, there's loads of movies, there's loads of games, there's loads of, like, TVs that all sort of span on this sort of little genre. Yeah. I think Fallout has a few good little niche things that they could introduce, which I think people haven't done before. So, or that's going to be specific to Fallout. So, you know, like, for example, they've got the androids, they've got the super mutants. These are things that could be really cool to see in live action version. So I think this, and of course, a Pip-Boy, and all these little quirky things they've got, and the vaults, of course. I think it would make a good TV show if they tell a new story which has nothing to do with any of the games, and just cast new people, new characters, and just tell a unique story from probably the perspective of someone who's just come out of a vault, and they're coming to terms with what's going on in the world. I think it could be good, but again, the whole if is it could be.
Maybe hire Henry Cavill.
Well, to be fair, Henry Cavill should probably just be in every TV show, and I think that'll make everything better. Because
that guy's a legend.
He is a complete beast. And I feel like...
And he's a gamer as well.
Yeah, exactly. Apparently, he was almost late to his Superman interview because he was playing World of Warcraft.
Yeah, I heard that. Like, how much can you relate to that? Like, how many times have you been late because you're like, I can't leave the game, Like, I've almost been late for work because, like, I've gotten up in the morning to play a game and I'm, like, on a really hard boss. Like, if you guys have played Kingdom Hearts, you can remember how long these boss fights are, and you know, I've almost been late for work because I just couldn't let go. I just had to do it.
Well, that's something you and Henry Cavill have in common, and I think that's awesome, to be fair.
I think that's the only thing we have in common.
I also feel like I feel like he keeps getting overlooked for James Bond. I think if you watch the Man from U.N.C.L.E., it shows him as like a British spy, and it just basically it just shows how he would be the best James Bond ever. That's my opinion.
I can see it. Tall, dark, and handsome. I don't think Daniel Craig is a good role for 007. I think he was good in the first couple. I think it's because I know he hates being James Bond. He says all the time, like he said in an interview, I'd rather slit my wrists than be James Bond, and then he did 2 more movies. Yeah, I'd rather slit my wrists and be James Bond, but I'm still going to do it because I need the money.
Because I need that £50 million cash check.
Exactly.
So that for me sort of ruins it a little bit. But he clearly doesn't enjoy doing it. But
I agree.
We're getting off topic here again, but you know that's how these conversations work. So yeah, Fallout, we are mixed, aren't we?
Yeah, I think so. I think like I said before, it's either going to make or break the whole franchise. I think as well the thing with Bethesda as well, touching on going back to the Skyrim thing, Like, they released so many versions of the game, and they had the chance to fix those bugs, and they didn't.
Yeah.
They released the games with the bugs and glitches in there because they'd become a meme for it. And yeah, I mean, in Skyrim, people, you'd have a laugh, and, you joke about it and whatnot. And I think in that same breath, they try to do the same with Fallout.
Yeah.
But the thing with Skyrim is, like, I personally have not played Skyrim. It's not really my type of game, but I can recognize how much of a good game it is. And the thing with Skyrim is, even though it had glitches and bugs, the gameplay and the whole game as a whole made up for it.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't mind having these bugs here and there because the game was so good. Fallout 76 was the complete opposite. The game was garbage, and they had the glitches and the bugs in there. That's not going to please anybody.
I agree.
So I think, and the same with Mass Effect, but that's BioWare. That's a different story. But it's the same. It's the same sort of ballpark, really. Bethesda and BioWare kind of had, at the same time, they kind of had the same things. Like, they got too comfortable, they started not caring about it, they started doing things just for the money, and that, I think, is what ruins games in these times. Like, a lot of developers and a lot of people make games for the money and not for the gamers, and I think that's what's killing the industry.
I agree. I think that's probably a very detailed topic we can discuss another time, because I've got loads of opinions about BioWare. But I think what you touched on really is that Bethesda and BioWare at a time were the best game developers for RPGs. Between 2006 and 2011, they were making the best RPGs in the world, and games have been trying to emulate them since, and Bethesda and BioWare haven't been able to. They've made subpar games ever since that sort of genre, and that's the shame. I think I was talking to somebody recently, and he was talking about Skyrim, and I was saying, if you haven't played it now, it's probably not worth playing because it's aged so much now. Like, there's massive loading screens, there's still loads of glitches. For 2011, it was awesome. 2015, still pretty awesome. 2020, it's an okay game now. It's got a lot of principle. It's again what I said 30 minutes ago. You've got to respect what games have done. Like, they paved the way. Skyrim paved the way for better RPGs. However, besides The Witcher, probably an RPG never came out that was as good as Skyrim because of the way the market declined in how games are being made, which is a massive shame.
It's true.
Okay, I feel like we should move on quickly to our final topic, because we're on 52 minutes, Joel, so we've only got maybe 3 or 4 minutes, 5 minutes to talk about this one. So our final game and topic of the day is the $70 next-gen price tag. So I'm going to start us off by reading a tweet that I saw the other day. Now, I'm not saying I agree with this tweet, because I don't. Me and Joel sort of was talking a bit about this before the podcast started, and we're trying to save it for actually the podcast itself. And I'm not supporting this completely. I agree with it a little bit, but this is a tweet anyway. Why are so many gamers trying to justify the price increase for next-gen games? We are mostly going to get the same old trash from big publishers, riddled with microtransactions, segments cut to make way for DLC, and season passes advertised before the game is even released. That's someone's opinion on Twitter. Now, what do you think, Joel, of that statement or of the price increase?
I can agree with a lot of it. I mean, okay, so first of all, with the price increase, I think every time a new generation of something comes out, whether it be games, phones, whatever, the price is always going to go up. Always. It's inflation. It's the world we live in now. Sorry? It's
inflation. So, for those who don't know, inflation's about 2.2% each year. So you can expect things to go up by that much. So it sort of is justified, and I think because the games, this generation have stayed the same price, basically. They've been between, say, £50 and £55 UK price for, say, 7 years? We haven't had an increase really at all. So it makes sense that it would be a bigger one now to make up for, firstly, the inflation that's happened over the past 5 years and the inflation going forward. So actually, that makes perfect sense for me. If you think of it that way, if it being completely logical, it has to align with inflation because they're losing money.
I think it's always... I'm not always, sorry. I think it's also, like we touched on the last time, Sony don't make that much money on their consoles. I'm only speaking on Sony side. Don't get me wrong. Like, I don't know about Microsoft. I don't know about PC. Obviously, PC is a completely different ballpark. But Sony especially, they lose a lot of money on the consoles. And if I'm not mistaken, the PS5... if the rumors are true and everything's true, then the PS5 is going to be the same price on release as the PS4 was.
Hope so.
And I doubt that the PS5 cost the same amount of money to make as the PS4 did. it probably cost a lot more. And so they're already losing a lot of money on the consoles, releasing them at that price, which I hope it is that price. I mean, I wouldn't want the console to be like £550, £600. I think it's quite steep. But they have to make that money back on the games, and that's why the games go up every generation. Like if you remember on the PS3 games, I think were like in Jersey, they were like between, I don't know, £30 and £40. PS4, £40 and £50. PS5, it'll most probably be between £50 and £60. Fine. Now, regarding the tweet now, I can agree with a lot of what he says, but I can't agree with all of it. Like he's making a very bold claim there in putting the whole gaming community into one tweet. And he can't do that because, yes, you know, people like EA, they release unfinished games for cash grab and, you know, DLCs and, you know, Ultimate Team with FIFA and whatever, just to make money. I can agree with him on that sense if he was speaking about specifically those companies. But if you go back and see God of War won Game of the Year. It had no DLCs. It had no cash grabs. It had no cosmetics or, you know, extra things for you to spend money on. It was the game. It was a perfect game. Got released. That's it. I agree. And that was it. And I think with God of War, I can't, at the top of my head, I can't really think of others, but I'm sure there are others out there that are like that, you know, AAA games that just want you to enjoy the game.
Well, Detroit Become Human was one, off the top of my head. Last of Us Remastered, Last of Us Part 2, I think other ones, Dragon Quest 11.
There's probably not many. Let's be honest. There's probably not many because a lot of the The Witcher.
The Witcher.
For example, The Witcher. It does have DLC, but The Witcher pretty much gave you, like, on the second DLC especially, like a DLC price gave you a complete new area, which is huge, with a complete story. You basically paid a DLC price for The Witcher 4 or The Witcher 3.5. Let's say.
Basically how DLC should be done.
Companies like that. Yeah, exactly. It's like if they get, or Spider-Man even. Spider-Man gave you like a DLC for like 3 DLCs, which I've not played them, but I've heard very good things about it.
It's okay. It doesn't match the quality of the actual story. You can tell it's been made on a budget, but it is all in all quite a good addition to the story, I would say. Yeah.
So yeah, I can agree and disagree with him. He says, you know, the things he does say is true. Like a lot of these companies, they do that. They release the games and they, you know, they don't release the whole game. They release a portion of the game and then they add the DLC for you to finish off the game, and you have to pay for the rest of the game. And, you know, cosmetics and this, that, and the other, or pay to win. You know, Battlefront 2, for example.
Exactly. That was a tipping point.
You can't put everyone in the same category.
I agree.
You know, the thing he claimed was basically he's putting the whole gaming thing into one category, and he can't do that. He has to say most or a lot, not just, you know, what's the point, because everyone's going to do the same, and it's not true.
Yeah, I agree. I think we can all agree you get taught as you grow up and stuff that you don't read a book by its cover, judge a book by its cover even. And I think we've had a lot of political issues around this last year that have all sort of suggested that, you know, you should never really stereotype anything because of things that a group of something have done. It doesn't really work. It's not fair. So we shouldn't do that anyway. However, if we look at, like, well, there's no however to that statement. If we look at certain big companies, or they do tend to really milk, and they've got, you know, they're driven by income first, which makes sense. You know, these big companies have to make money, but it's just whether or not it takes away too much from the games. Because, like, whenever I think of a company that is very greedy and just wants to take money from you, I think of EA and Ubisoft. I don't really play EA games that much anymore, so I can't relate to them too much. But for example, for Ubisoft, they've got some of the worst gaming practices ever, especially in the single player games. This is the problem with Ubisoft, is they actively make their Assassin's Creed games longer to try and tempt you into buying an XP boost, because the game is so below par that they want you to pay to skip their game. Like, how ludicrous is that when you say it? Like, yes, they add a lot of content to Assassin's. I'm mainly thinking of Origins and Odyssey. Yeah, they added a lot of content. I'm not dissing the game too much. There's some good parts of the game, but the fact that they added XP boost, the fact, especially in Origins, the grind to level up, it's like, you do a story mission, then you have to do 10 side missions to level up enough to do the next story mission. Or you can buy an XP boost and just skip all the side content. Like that should never, a game should never ever be like that. So,
and if they wanted to do it like that, they should add more variety.
Yeah, exactly.
Because a lot of the side quests is, you know, it's Ubisoft at the end of the day. It's like Far Cry. You know, Far Cry, you have objectives: go and release these people from this camp, or go and take over this area. And it's basically rinse and repeat all the time, and it gets boring. And so people, and I think they do it on purpose, but touching on the same thing you were saying there, I think they do it on purpose. They make it boring so you don't want to do it and you just pay to skip it, which, is bad. Maybe really bad.
Yeah, where are they being really pessimistic, which I think, I sometimes do look at things in a pessimistic light. Someone might jump in the comments and say, oh no, I enjoyed all the content for all the side quests, blah, blah, and these type of games, which is fine, everyone each to their own. I don't mind side content. If I play Witcher 3, the side missions are so good that, like, you want to play everything in the game, and that's how games should be. Not side quests that are the same. Kill this person, follow this person, capture this person, rinse and repeat. Like, that's not how side content is made. That's filler content. That's filler, and I don't like filler ever.
I love how The Witcher 3 has basically set a tone for how games should be. Like, if you think of conversations now and you're comparing games, like The Witcher 3 will always show up.
I agree.
It's crazy.
But
it's such a good game. Like, if you haven't played The Witcher 3, what the hell is wrong with you? Go play The Witcher 3. It's like one of the best games ever.
I agree.
It's so good. It's so full. The story is amazing. The side quests are like pretty much unique. Yes, there's a bit of repetitiveness in it, but in an RPG, you know, you can't not repeat things. It's a huge game, but there's very little repetitiveness. There's about 3 missions that are like pretty much similar. Everything else is unique. The characters are I just can't.
It is amazing.
Yeah, it just shows, like, every game now, like every game that is bad or every game that's an RPG and is doing things wrong, it always gets compared to The Witcher. So developers, look at The Witcher and try and do the same. I'm not saying live up to them or compete with them. I'm just saying just try and put that effort in. If you have to delay a game, delay a game.
I agree.
It's going to be worth it. If it's going to be worth it, who cares about delays?
Yeah. How
many delays did The Witcher have? Like 3, 4?
Same as Cyberpunk.
But it was worth the wait. Look at it.
Beautiful.
And it's just...
I agree. I would rather wait an extra year for a game that's going to be a 10 out of 10, or even 2 years, than get an 8 out of 10 game at launch with all these bugs.
Yeah.
I think Witcher 3 is sort of like what Skyrim was. Skyrim in 2011 sort of created this amazing new game, and I think Witcher 3 has done the same, and there's only really a couple of games that sort of compare to this sort of level of grandeur and this sort of level of amazing game quality throughout.
Yeah.
So yeah, Witcher 3, play it. If you haven't played it, you should be playing it right now.
I love when we turn this topic into like Witcher. This tweet and like it
just spiraled.
Like The Witcher.
I want to, because we've just hit an hour, Joel. So we're going to wrap this up. I just want to mention one thing, which is I read an article where a games developer said from a AAA company. It was anonymous, but he said basically, we can't afford to make games anymore because we are not charging enough for the games. We are charging £60, £50 for a game, $60, and that's not enough to justify the money we're spending in games. And I just want to say I don't agree with that at all. For example, Avengers Endgame made, over £1 billion in its first week or something, and I still paid £8 for a ticket to go see it. So, and that movie cost about, I think it was about $700 million to make. So, if they can afford to make games on those prices, I think that's a really poor argument. Like, I've already established that earlier on that, I'm for it because it aligns with inflation, but that alone is not justification because games developers choose how much money to put into games. And, we get games that come out that are £60 that cost $200 million to make, and we get games that come out that cost $600 million to make. Like, I think Last of Us Part 2 cost around $400 million to make, and then again, you tend to pay, the big developers will pay the same price on making a game as they do an advertisement. So Last of Us Part 2 probably cost about $800 million to make. Now, they've made that money back already. And I understand that, for example, a smaller developer can't afford to take that risk, but you should just work within the bounds of what a company can afford. They shouldn't then expect the consumers to pay more for things so they can make the games they want to make, when really, if they make a good enough game now, within their limits, then everybody wins.
I think just to finish it off as well, I think we're being a bit too harsh on the developers. I think it's maybe the publishers
That's
with these
fair.
stupid deadlines, because they expect they expect the developers to make a AAA game in 6 months or in a year or in 2 years, when they should be giving them 3 or 4 years so they can fine-tune their games.
That is the problem.
I find it ridiculous nowadays that as soon as you buy a new game, there's a day one update. Why? Why don't they give them the time to fine-tune the game so there is no so there is no day one update? How hard is it?
Well,
it can't be that hard.
Well, it comes down to the gaming industry, the game development industry being really poorly handled. You've got the whole crunch culture. There's no unions. Yeah. The workers just have no support at all. And I think that is definitely a topic which we could talk about for half an hour, because there's some serious malpractices within the gaming community, especially in the US. But unfortunately, we can't change it from sitting in this podcast, but hopefully it will change for the better at some point later on.
We can rant about it.
Let's rant about it.
We can rant about
steam.
it.
All right, Joe, I think we'll wrap it up because we're on like an hour and 5 minutes. So, guys, thank you very much for watching this Platinum podcast. Please like and subscribe to help the channel out. We really appreciate it. Anything you want to say, Joe, before we end it?
Yeah, just like on the last one, if you guys have any suggestions of topics, or if you guys want to hear us talk about anything, let us know down below.
We appreciate it.
And we'll pop on the list.
All our details will be in the comments in the description if you want to find Joel's channel or anything like that. And yeah, guys, thanks very much for watching. See you in the next video. Take it easy.
Bye-bye.